India is an exotic mosaic of cultures and traditions that have coexisted for thousands of years. But in 1984, fierce antagonism between the small Sikh religious sect and the nation's majority of Hindus shatters the harmony when militant Sikhs try to force Indira Gandhi's national government to grant them greater religious and social freedoms. For 150 years, India was under British control, and it was British arms that kept peace between the Hindus and Muslims as both groups sought power and independence. In 1947, Hindu leaders Mahatma Gandhi and Pandit Nehru brought independence to the nation as England relinquished its overseas empire. But the centuries-old hostility between Hindus and Muslims was then so intense that civil war was certain. In order to bring peace to the region, Britain and India agreed to the emigration of millions of Muslims into its northwest territories, forming a separate Muslim nation. Pakistan was born. Since 1947, with brief exception, India's most powerful position of Prime Minister was filled by members of just one family. Pandit Nehru held the post from 1947 until his death in 1964. 2 years later, his married daughter, Indira Gandhi, no relation to the late Mahatma Gandhi, won the position of Prime Minister.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India.
As by law established.
As by law established.
Over the next 18 years, she ruled. In a country where 15 languages and over 500 dialects are spoken, she was totally dedicated to a united India. Whenever that unity was threatened, she did not hesitate to suspend freedoms or use military force. In 1984, armed force is called on when members of the Sikh religion turn to violence. This 500-year-old belief combines elements of Hinduism and Islam, and its members can be recognized because of their uncut hair and turbans. Although Sikhs make up only 2% of India's dense population, in their home state of Punjab, Sikhs make up 55%. The Punjab is crucial to the country. Known as the breadbasket of India, it is the main source of wheat and grain, which helps feed India's 700 million people. But the nation is largely Hindu, and the Sikhs claim they are being persecuted.
Although our religion is obviously different, we are a monotheism, we believe in one God, as opposed to the Hindus that believe in various idols, of varying natures, and would rather let a cow live and a child die. Our philosophy is we will kill the cow and let the child live.
Moderate Sikhs call for more autonomy and recognition of their religion, but in the Punjab, militant Sikhs form a separatist movement, calling for the establishment of a new country, Khalistan, to be squeezed in between India and Pakistan. Clashes become violent, and in February alone, sporadic fighting kills 50 and injures hundreds of Sikhs and Hindus. While moderate Sikhs negotiate with Gandhi's government, the militants rally behind spiritual leader Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale.
We are fighting for our rights, not demands. And till the rights are met, we will continue with our agitation. And we want to be relieved from the chain of slavery in which we are in.
Killings mount in the Punjab, and Indira Gandhi sends troops in to quell the militants. Meanwhile, pressure applied by moderates pays off, as the government agrees to recognize Sikhism as a separate religion. But Bhindranwale reasserts the call for an independent country. Assaults between Hindus and Sikhs escalate, and more troops are called in. The militants threatened to cut off vital grain supplies to the rest of the nation, which is dependent on the Punjab's bounty. Then, on June 6th, Indira Gandhi breaks the back of the militant Sikh movement. At the Golden Temple in the city of Amritsar, the holiest shrine for all Sikhs, 50,000 Indian troops begin an assault. The heavily armed militant Sikhs respond, and the battle continues for days. Over 700 Sikhs and Indian soldiers are killed, including Bhindranwale, whose body was found with 72 bullets, giving rise to the theory that the trapped moderate Sikhs assassinated him in retaliation for their plight.
I don't think it's correct to use the word Sikh. Our action was not against the Sikhs, it was not against the Sikh religion, it was not against the Golden Temple. It was against a very small, comparatively small group in which we believe there were other people too, not only Sikhs, who were desecrating the holy place. And the action was against them, it was not against the others. And I think that by and large the Sikhs are realizing that. Now, the Sikhs have an honored place, they're still in our army, they're still everywhere, in my security and everywhere.
Sikhs throughout India are angered by the government's extreme reprisal, and they take to the streets.
Are you ready to die for this?
Yes, of course. Not only I. Every Sikh will come and sacrifice his life.
Ready to die.
We are all fanatics, religious fanatics. We are all ready to sacrifice. They don't let us come in the temple.
What is it you want now?
We want blood for what? We want blood for blood. Revenge. We want revenge now.
Indira Gandhi and all her family have signed their death warrant. There is a death warrant signed and sealed the day she went into the occult hut and put one soul.
Are you speaking figuratively or literally?
I'm talking literally. She is all her family.
There is a real death warrant somewhere.
There is an absolute death warrant on Indira Gandhi's life. And we will never rest until all her family, all her dynasty, will never see the sunshine again.
Gradually, the hostilities calm down, and at the end of September, Gandhi withdraws the army from the Golden Temple. Then, on October 31st, the death warrant is served. Heading for an interview with actor Peter Ustinov in the security of her compound, Indira Gandhi is shot by two of her security guards, both Sikhs. They, in turn, are immediately killed by loyal security guards.
We suddenly heard 3 individual shots, which were, in fact, we found out later, pistol shots. There was enough time for people to say, don't worry, that's only firecrackers. They let them off here occasionally. And then there was a flurry of machine gun bullets or light automatic rifle bullets, which were certainly nothing to do with any firecrackers. And we realized something had happened, and people started running around in rather silently. There were no voices raised or anything. And then after quite a moment, suddenly 2 more bursts of light automatic fire, which I believe was the commandos making short shrift of the assassins.
Mrs. Gandhi is rushed to a nearby hospital where 5 hours later, her death is announced.
In spite of her best efforts, we could not save her, and she expired at about 2:23 or so.
This is most shocking incident. All attempts of this type should be condemned by the people of this country.
The assassination of Mrs. Gandhi is in retaliation for the storming of the Golden Temple. The act horrifies Hindu Indians. The 67-year-old leader had been known affectionately as Mother India for nearly 2 decades, and her death now creates a huge power vacuum.
I've never thought of being Prime Minister. I've got a job at the moment of building up our party, and I think I've done a fairly good job in the past 2 years.
Attempting to re-establish order as quickly as possible, the ruling government cabinet turns to Indira's 40-year-old son, Rajiv. He is sworn in as Prime Minister just hours after his mother's death.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of India.
To the Constitution of India.
That night, he addresses the nation.
Nothing would hurt the soul of our beloved Indira Gandhi more than the occurrence of violence in any part of our country.
But Rajiv's limited political experience fuels speculation about his ability to act as decisively and rule as effectively as his mother. On November 3rd, Indira Gandhi's body is carried across New Delhi in a 3-hour procession to the banks of the Jumna River. Political leaders from around the world attend to mourn her passing. Her body is cremated in a traditional Hindu funeral. As a final ritual, from an Indian Army plane, her ashes are scattered over the snowy Himalayan mountain range, officially ending the 12-day state of mourning.